we are making the life of fintech or bank easier so that they can decide, and this eventually will help in reducing the NPA. So if your NPA reduces, then your interest rate becomes better. So that is the whole, because know your customer is not just verifying PAN and Aadhaar, it's an entire bouquet of services. And with the frauds that's happening nowadays, right? So we used to hear that AI can generate your Aadhaar card, but eventually, if
Right.
it can generate your Aadhaar card, then there's a AI which can detect it's a AI generated Aadhaar image or not. So there's a virus and there's an antivirus. So we are like an antivirus to the fraudster industry.
Hi, everyone. I welcome back to another episode of Founder Spotlight series on behalf of Tracxn, where we invite various startup co founders to share their journey, some sort of insights, and advice to the youngsters who have startup dreams. Well, today with me is Mr. Lokesh Chaudhary, who is the founder of KYCKART. Hi, Lokesh. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm all good. How are you?
Doing great. First of all, thanks a lot. On behalf of the entire Traction family, I welcome you to this podcast. And thanks for making some time out of your busy schedule. Yeah,
Always happy to meet and interact with you, Subayan. So yeah.
great. My name is Supayan Dasgupta, your host today, and I'm heading the startup vertical over here.
Got
Now, let's get started with this interaction. Well, to start with, Lokesh, tell us something about your background and the backstory behind finding this company called KYC Card. How did it get started?
Yeah, so my journey is typically the same journey as the middle class individual. So I did my engineering 2010. Then after engineering, I have option of going to IT sector. So I have placement from Infosys, TCS, but I decided to go for MBA. So I did my MBA straight from college in 2012. So I'm MT Ghaziabad passed out 2012 batch. So from 2012 till 2021, I was in corporate sales. So for initial 6 years, I was in Mumbai. So I was working with ICICI Lombard, mostly in the corporate sales department. And then in 2015, I got introduced to this KYC space. So I joined this company called ID5, which is a very known name in the KYC space right now. So I was one of the early employees. So I worked there for 3 years. Then from ID5, I moved to a company called Onfido, which is a leading RegTech player in the global market. So I was responsible for setting up the Indian business. The company is based out of UK, London. So I worked there for another 1 year, 1.5 years. And then I moved to Oddbridge, which is also one of the leading players, 15-year-old companies based out of Gurugram. So then I moved to Gurugram and I worked there for 1.5 years. Then I thought, okay, now I'm the same KYC space 5, 6 years. Why uh, not start on my own? So I took the plunge and started this company with my co-founder Anshu, who heads a tech piece. So we started KYC Card 2021. So it has been 5 years now. Recently, we completed 5 years in June. So it has been a wonderful journey. And we have got support from government of India. So they invested in us through a scheme called Startup India Seed Fund Scheme. So we got the initial working capital loan from government of India in 2022 itself within the first 2 years. So that is a very, and recently just wanted to share a good news with you. So we have got an invite from Ministry of Defense to participate in the Independence Day parade. So we will one of
Wow,
the visitors. We are representing Startup India, so we will be going there. So this is an invite we have got yesterday itself. So me and my colleague Prabjot will be going there. So because the thing is, government is promoting a lot of startups, so we are one of the beneficiary of that startup. So that is about our journey. So we have a small team of 15 members, and thanks to AI, we are able to manage a workload of 100 members. So the team is very capable. AI is helping a lot. And since I come from the same industry, so we have a lot of references and client trust built over the 9 years before I started. So that has helped us in gaining our initial few customers, and then through reference, word of mouth, we are working. So that is all about me. So I have been a bit long with introductions, but I try to cover the maximum portions. So that is about us.
fantastic. Uh, I congratulate you and your team for your invite during the Independence Day celebration, right? And would love to understand from your side what was the exact problem statement which you people would have identified 4 5 years back on during your tenure in corporate world, which led to the foundation of KYC card. If you can just
Yeah.
brief.
So as you know, KYC, everyone aware knows what KYC is, know your customer. So everyone want to know who are you. So typically knowing means that you're verifying your PAN card, Aadhaar card, uh, taking your bank statement if you're taking a loan to see whether you have the intent or the capacity to pay or not. So before 5 years or 6 years down the line, most of the verification used to happen physically, that you submit your physical Aadhaar and PAN card, and people used to look at it, which is called original, seen, and verified. You see the original copy and see, okay, looks nice, doesn't look like tampered. So you see, okay, tick, submitted. Bank statement you have to submit physically. You take a printout and you have to give to the bank representative, and the bank's teams go manually. But now with the invent of AI and lot of automation, now you can just give a soft copy of bank statement, and using solution like bank statement analyzer, within 3 to 4 seconds you can extract the entire data from a, let's say, 30 pager bank statement in a proper Excel format, top, debits, credit, whether the documents are fraud or not, if there are any EMI bounces or not. So underwriter who used to take maybe a day or two to analyze a bank statement before deciding a loan can be done using our technologies. When I say I mean the entire industry, can be done within 5 minutes. So his time is saved. So let's say our underwriter is processing, let's say, 3 loan in a day. Now he can process 30 loans in a day. So your productivity increases, which increase to the uh, getting your loan approved earlier. Previously, home loan used to take 30 days. Now it takes around 15 days. And with the advance of technology, it might take 2 to 3 days to get your home loan approved, because now,
Got
since
it.
let's say you're a businessman, right? So what with the gem trinity, which is the Jandhan, Aadhaar, and mobile, and all the databases, let's say GST databases and digital database, government is doing a lot of work in the digitization space. So all the data can be fetched real time using the consent of the user. So once you fetch the data is coming in a very professional manner. Then you can design your own LOS, LMS system, which is loan origination systems and loan management system. And you can, using the machine, you can decide, okay, this is the loan amount which can be given to this person. This is the interest rate based upon the past CIBIL or other histories. So the data is becoming very digitized. And the problem that we're trying to solve is to make more and more digitization. And one thing that players like us are trying to do, that if we can identify some fraud indicators in the application using the IML, okay, the document looks genuine, but it is tempered. Someone has misplaced with, let's say, the name. They have just tempered in such a fashion that the normal human eye can't detect it, but the AI technology can detect it. So we are making the life of fintech or bank easier so that they can decide, and this eventually will help in reducing the NPA. So if your NPA reduces, then your interest rate becomes better. So that is the whole, because know your customer is not just verifying PAN and Aadhaar, it's an entire bouquet of services. And with the frauds that's happening nowadays, right? So we used to hear that AI can generate your Aadhaar card, but eventually, if
Right.
it can generate your Aadhaar card, then there's a AI which can detect it's a AI generated Aadhaar image or not. So there's a virus and there's an antivirus. So we are like an antivirus to the fraudster industry. And
Wonderful, wonderful knowing this. Thanks for helping us understand what exactly was the problem statement behind, which was the stepping stone for KYC card, right? Now, help us understand this for the next 12 months down the line. Anything specific which you are most excited about KYC card?
so what we're trying to do is that instead of just providing raw information to the client, like say we have a GST API where we can fetch data from the government using the consent and give the, let's say, all the uh, client's name and what business they have done. So what we're trying to bring, matlab, there are other companies who have already done it in the past, but what we're trying to do is to make the GST statement analyzer, wherein we can analyze all the GST statement, identify the pain points. Okay, this company, although the revenue is constant in the last 12 months, but the clients keeps on changing. So for a particular month, there's a client A who's doing maximum volume. Then the client goes. Then there's another client which comes. So just to identify any fraud indicator in the statement, because data is one thing, we are converted data into some insights which will help them analyze. That is one part where we want to play on the available information which the user is doing. Secondly, we are training our AI system so that we can identify the fraud documents, because right now there are a lot of technology where you can create a lot of fake documents, right? So how we can, and then we are doing a lot of work on the awareness space. So on our website, which is KYCKART.com, so we published daily fraud news under our feed. So whatever fraud indicated, then we keep on writing blogs on LinkedIn and a
Yeah.
website where we indicate that what kinds of frauds are happening, how we can prevent it. So we are not a news publication to publish the news. What we also want to give some insights how you can prevent it. And then we are part of certain industry bodies where we keep publishing white papers on the identification piece. Because what we're trying to achieve is that right now identification is a one-stop journey, that you do KYC check and you onboard a customer. What we are propagating in the industry, that you do a continuous verification. So you do verification right now, then you do after 6 months, because the job can be changed after 6 months, right? The person job is changed, then he might not be able to repay his loan. So this is just one example. So let's trigger or bifurcate customers into various risk zones: high risk, medium risk, and low risk. And based upon the risk zone, you do their KYC on a frequent interval, let's say after a year, 6 months, 2 years. So this is what we are trying to propagate. And we are a new player in the town, all the way in 5 years, but we work with other partners also in the industry to uh, talk to banks, NBFCs, and try to make this lending space more risk free. We want to minimize the fraud. And then
Got
we're
it.
working something on some collection space also. So, for example, if let's say the person has taken loan from you and now is not traceable, so can we give some insight to a bank that the person might be trying to escape? Trying to escape as in that the salary is not getting credited for 3 months, so the person doesn't have an amount to pay. So maybe the bank can proactively reach out to them. So this is all under the DPTP guidelines. So not everything that I'm saying is practically possible. So there's certain things that we have to keep in mind regarding the data privacy law in mind, because I can't fetch your data without your consent. So that's why the consent is also evolving, that when you give something to a bank, then you give a consent. Okay, you will use my consent and you can fetch my statement every month, like your credit card, right? So let's say you are on cred. So cred pulls your credit card bill directly from
Right.
your Gmail, and then they'll make you, okay, click on this button, pay. So that's why we are trying to make that way. Maybe we can pull information with the consent of the bank and the consent of customer, and then give some uh, identifiers to bank to minimize the NPAs. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Very interesting, this piece of information. And thanks for sharing this. Uh, would love to understand now, when you got started in 2021, right, 5 years back, do you remember one of the most important challenges uh, which was very difficult for you to sort it out? If you can share one of those, important and very significant challenge which you faced.
Yeah, so the thing is that when we entered, so they're already old incumbent players who are big, like ID5, my past company, Othbridge, and SignZ, and other players. So people, the first question they used to ask me, that we are already working with you, the leading players, why should we choose you? And what's extra you bring to the table, and how do we make sure that the data that we are giving to you is secure, right? Because they are giving us the informations. So we, in the very initial few months, we got ourselves VAPT audited, ISO audited, so that all the trust comes from the regulation point of view also. And then we got members of certain industry bodies. We played aggressively on the pricing because we want to take an entry, and uh, we got one big client, right? And then we got ICICI Bank as a client in the very first year, and then using their reference, so we got entry to Kotak Bank. So Kotak Bank said, okay, if ICICI is doing it, so there must be something. And then from Kotak we got to Bajaj Finance. From Bajaj Finance we go to Tata Capital. From Tata Capital we go to Navi. So now the thing is that the RCU department, which is a risk control unit within a bank, so they know all the people in the industry. So once we're pitching to a bank, so they take a reference from other bank, and that helped us in pushing. And also the good part of our industry is that every big bank or NBFC, they want to have multiple partners, multiple vendor partner, because let's say if my services is down, so their client should not get impacted. So they have a fallback partner. So even if we take, let's say, 10% business from a big bank, big banks, then that 10% also a very good amount from for our company from the starting point of view. And now our positioning is to become a dominant player in that industry. So word of
Wow.
mouth, trust, because they're new company. So people used to say, okay, you're working from a co-working space. So how big is your team? Because and then lot of audits used to be happen, which is not very relevant. Okay, where is your server? Then we uh, finalized on AWS because AWS is the leading secure uh,
Right.
server space. And then we published the VAPT audit report. So we took all the audits that is required. And right now, as we speak, we're also going for a new level of security, which was SOC 2 Type 2 compliance. That is an ongoing process because at the end of the day, bank rely on the evidences that you give to them, and
Absolutely.
that too from the renowned players. So all the audit that we are going are not done by any ordinary vendors. All these vendors are certain impaneled, which is authorized by government of India, and there's an audit trail for everything. So that is what, because we work in the data space, right? And we have a lot of consultant who guides us on the compliances because we don't want to fall on the wrong side of the compliance. So compliance is very important. And sometimes we do say no to certain clients who we feel they are not very averse to compliance. So if someone is not giving me 5 or 6 documents that I need for onboarding, then I don't onboard that client or a vendor.
Understood.
That is a non-negotiable for me.
Yeah, totally agree. Compliance is something which cannot be ignored, right? As far as this industry is concerned, right? Now, as you know, over the last 2, 3 years, there has been a huge impact of AI in
Right.
every ecosystem. There is no specific ecosystem where AI has not created any kind of difference, right? From KYC cards point of view, we would love to understand from your side, in your operational stuff, how were you able to leverage the power of AI? If you can just elaborate a bit.
So AI is helped us also because it led us increasing the productivity of the team. So now the team member can do multiple tasks because they have AI to support him, right? Because previously what we used to do, that we used to download all the daily logs from the client, and we used to track whether we are growing or there's a dip in the business or not. Now we have built agents which gives us notification that the business from this client is down by 5% as compared to last month. So you can just reach out to this client and see. So that is from the business point of view. The challenge is that we face is from the core compliance point of view. For example, now the fraudsters have also become very sophisticated using the AI. So we got a lot of uh, genuinely looking documents which are
Hmm,
not genuine. So to identify whether it's a fraud document or not. Because
got
what
it.
happens now when someone do a fraud, then he doesn't just edit the PDF and give it to you. They're very sophisticated. They do a edit in the PDF and then take a multiple photocopies of this PDF and then give you a very let's say fifth or sixth version of the photocopy. So when your team sees it, so it's very difficult to take it from. Then we have formed some kind of technology. For example, some, let's say a amount is credited into your account using UPI. So every UPI transaction has a particular code which has a date or a month embedded in it. So we cross check, okay, the transaction happened on 9th, but as per the code it is saying it has happened on 6th. So that's a red flag we identify, because first of what they do, they create a new entry, they just copy paste the above code. They don't remember what the actual, but government or the financial institution also very smart. So they, although we feel that all the money which is coming into our account, the description is very random, but there's a meaning to every description. And if you go in a very sophisticated fashion, then you can identify, okay, this transaction is genuine and this transaction non genuine. Instead of the person has just make it a proper balanced statement, but just looking at the transactional summary you can identify. So that is one part of it. So it's a very evolving space. So whatever worked yesterday might not work today, so we have to keep ourselves updated, trained at what's
Absolutely.
happening.
Yeah, yeah.
And and we keep participating various conferences. So we were
Right.
there in the India AI summit which happened this year, so where we got to know that government is doing a lot of great work which we were not aware of.
That's right.
So,
That's right. So moving on, I'll be just changing my course of questions now towards something different. Okay. Uh, are you looking for fundraising for yourself at the moment by any chance?
Not as of now, because right now we feel that let's bootstrap it for now, and let's try to achieve to a certain number which have in mind. And once we reach that number, then we'll look. So maybe not now, but after 2 years. And
After 2 years? Got it. Got it.
because DPTP Act is coming next year, right? It's getting implemented. So we're also looking how the DPTP Act uh, comes into the picture and what will be the impact on the KYC space. So if that picture is clear, then we have more power to decide, okay, at what valuation we want. And we are a profitable company, so we don't need any external capital to grow. But yes, if we get it from a good partner which help us in escalate our business from X to 10x or 5x, then we are always open. But as of now, we have not given thought to fundraising. We are more focused on improving our product, improving the client experience. That's our primary objective as of now.
Understood. So, since you have been recently onboarded to the platform of Traction, what do you feel? Which are the use cases you found it very much relevant when you looked at this platform for the first time?
So the first time, to be honest, so when we got this platform, so we do a competition analysis. Okay, where are competition sitting? So we go and we type our competition. Okay, how their growth trajectory is, because motivators. Let's say we are on a 10 crore revenue. Last year we did 10 CR as a revenue. So if I see that my peer who has done 10 CR, let's say 3 years back, and then from 10 CR they move to 20 CR. So what they might have done to double their revenue. So it's motivators to look at the profitability also, that okay, in 10 CR, what should be my profitability, what my peers are doing, have I focusing much on profitability versus the growth? Because let's say if I reduce the pricing, then my chances of increase the business will be high. So this help us in optimally balancing our pricing, that okay, we want to grow but profitably, but not too much focus on profit that we lose the top line. So that is one. Second, when we onboard a client or onboard a vendor, though it gives us a good visibility on the company type. Okay, the company is good. Who are the key people? It also helps us in the sales uh, outreach. So let's say I have to reach out to, let's say, Shriram Insurance, just an example. So now I know who are the key members there. So I can reach out to them over email or LinkedIn. And then, so that has also helped us. So and
Understood.
that is what we have, because it has been just a month only. So competition analysis and sales, this is what we are done as of now. But maybe as
Right.
a all, we'll realize more
Absolutely.
benefits of it. But it's a very wonderful platform, and I think you have recently introduced the AI tool also, which is also very
Right.
helpful. Instead of just searching, we'll just go to the tool and we just type. And recently, your team also mentioned that we can just do a chat GPT integration with your tool, so
Correct.
we can directly fetch data from the. We have not explored it yet, but maybe after a month or so, we'll
Absolutely.
explore
We'll
that
be
option.
more than happy to support you in that, right? And as you start using this, probably you'll realize it is not just about maybe computer analysis or business development, but much beyond that, right? Basically, we what we have realized over the last 3 4 years is right. Anybody who has a startup, right? Probably this platform will give you an edge to understand your whole market, right?
Yeah,
What's actually happening, the sectorial research, right? The market intelligence around your sector, which will be very much helpful for any founder to stay up to date as far as your current scenario is concerned, right? What is actually happening in the sector where you belong, right? Great. Now here comes my last final question for today, and that's since you are a very experienced person in the market, right? Having been in the industry for the last almost 17, 18 years. Uh, you see, most of the startups these days are being founded by people who are in their late 20s. You must have seen that, right?
yeah, yeah.
Most of the early stage startups are being co-founded by people who are in their late 20s. What would be your advice to a very youngster, right, who has startup dreams? What kind of path he should be following as per you?
So a very interesting question. In fact, yesterday I wrote a LinkedIn post on the same topic. So I come from MT Ghaziabad. So my juniors keeps on asking me, "Okay, Lokesh, do we follow our passion from the campus itself, or should we work for a few years?" So it's a very practical advice, and I don't want to give any motivational gyan to them. So I said that it all depends on person to person. So if you've taken education loan, because MBA is expensive, right? So first repay that loan, because if you have obligation on EMI, then you'll not able to focus on the startup. So first work in the industry, preferably in the same company where you want to do a startup. Let's say I started a KYC company. Bec- because I was in the KYC space. It's not that I decided to go into KYC space, because I was in that space and I liked that space. So I felt that experience helps, because at the end of the day, creating a website or launching a product is a easy part, but the operation is very expensive. So either you have the operational experience, or you have the funding where you can hire the people who have the experience from the market. Because let's say Zepto and all, so they're all started by 18, 19 years guy, but they have a very core team who are experienced professional who are doing it. Because at the end of the day, you need experience. So but if someone feels that I have the desire, I can't work in the industry, but so there are always exceptions. So, but you have to see the success rate also. People right now, they are very glamorized by the word dropouts, right? But if you
Right.
there's 100 successful startup, then the dropouts maybe 5 or 10%, or maybe less,
True,
because
true.
the education helps, because it doesn't just give you gyan which you can take from ChatGPT now, but it helps you building your connect. Let's say I am a 2012 batch pass out. So I have around, let's say, 14 years experience. So my colleagues who are passed out from MT Ghaziabad, they are also sitting at the very leadership positions in banks and NBFCs. So if I reach out to them and see, so my chances of getting a connect within a company will be easier because of my alumni connect. That's why you see that all the top famous companies are run by IIT IIM founders, because their alumni, their pedigree helps, because they know that if I am guy started a company, then chance of high, because they cracked a very uh, let's say cumbersome cat exam and they grilled for 2 years. So they have the desire. At the end of the day, anyone can get succeed, but I think it's always good to work and then decide. Or maybe you can do a part time also, right? You work from 9 to 5, and then in the evening you can follow your passion.
Right. Right.
It's up to you. And now the big companies who promote entrepreneurship also. Entrepreneurship means that
Right.
someone want to do something within a company, so they could, okay, let's start a vertical. And recently this famous TV series came, na, Titan, the made in
Mhm.
India story. So Mr. Jersis Desai, who was part of Tata Group, he said, okay, I want to start a watch company. So Mr. G.R.D. Tata said, okay, start a watch company within a
Correct.
time, name it Titan. So that helps. Concrete answer, because your answer keeps on changing, so it's whatever the person like, because we can just give an advice, but maybe if there's something else in the destiny of the person, then they should follow what they want. So this is
Absolutely.
my
Absolutely.
final suggestion.
But to be very honest, I found your advice very much interesting, especially the first part of it, where you highlighted that, as you rightly pointed out, the cost of MBA is so high, right? And these days, it has gone. I mean, I think 8 to 10 times more than when we have passed out in 2010, 2011, right?
Yeah,
So, it's a good thought that you should focus on repaying that loan, and then once you acquire that knowledge which is needed in your domain, then probably you can go for your own company, right? Nothing wrong in that, right?
and
Uh,
one more advice that I want to give, that
so
always treat VC money as your own. Use it
absolutely
very judicially, because VC, for example, that you got a VC money and then you buying fancy home cars, and then your company got bankrupt. So, because
correct.
sometimes you have to be frugal in the beginning, because if you're frugal in the beginning, then you appreciate the value of money. Otherwise, so you spend that money in fancy office and all. So
Very
that is
true.
also important, to be frugal initially, and then once you get the money, then you are spending it in the right proportions. Okay, don't spend money in the marketing itself. Spend it where it needed the most, maybe the operations or the tech or the sales.
Very true. It's so important to be frugal during the early stage of your startup. Great, Lokesh. I think it was a fantastic conversation with you today, and I was thoroughly enjoying this whole. And I think people who will be watching this video later, they'll be having their own piece of insights from what you spoke. Right? Very interesting, right? Uh, for sure, we will come back to you in 2027, later part of 2027, to cover up another success story of KYC card. Okay, from that
Definitely.
point of time, right? 1 year down the line, or maybe 15 months down the line, right? Uh, till then, thanks a lot for making time for us. It was wonderful talking to you, and I wish your entire team all the very best.
Thank you, Super. And in fact, it's also our first podcast. So I was thought this would be a discussion, but I was not expecting it to be podcast. I think that you will come and you'll learn from my ideas. But it's good talking to people because I am into the sales. So I always like talking to people, sharing my experience. Maybe let's say out of 15, 20 minutes I have spoken, maybe there's a one good point that someone has taken and which will help. But we are always open. If someone want to reach out to us, I'm always open. We reply to the emails and messages that we receive. So thank you so much for your time, and we wish you also all the best in your traction journey. That you add more new and new features, and we make more use of your platform, and we'll grow. You grow. So it's a win-win for all the people involved.
Absolutely. We are here to win together, right? So thanks a lot one more time and stay tuned and goodbye for today.